The best thing about the holidays is when you get all those family members that come into town that you don't see very often, and they're like, I see you do all these videos about books, but really, Mike, how much is there to talk about when it comes to books? Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike here with another weekly update for the week of Thanksgiving. If you are in the United States, we are celebrating Thanksgiving this week, so it'll be probably a rather short book update this week because I know that you guys got your own stuff going on with family and friends and commitments and whatnot, and some of people have to work, and I mean that's just weird. Yeah, so very very happy Thanksgiving to you if you are outside of the United States. That's okay. We wish you Thanksgiving anyway, even though you know you guys don't celebrate it. So eat, drink, and be merry. So going to talk about a quick couple of hits this week that I did do. I did finish, again, as always, we're going to start with books because this is a book channel first and foremost. I did finish reading the first section of Conan, The Coming of Conan. It's 5 stories. Let's see here. We had Queen of the Black Coast. We had The Frost Giant's Daughter. We had The Tower of the Elephants. We had, I should have wrote this down before I started, Rogues in the House. And I think there was one more in there. Anyway, it's a good time. I did a video talking about why I decided to read Conan right here in case you missed it. It went over pretty well. Actually, there's some people who put it on the Dungeons and Dragons Reddit because I talk about how it kind of led me to play Dungeons and Dungeons and Dragons kind of led me to Conan. So that was unexpected, but really good feedback on that one, and I always appreciate that. People are happy. I'm just trying to spread the good word about Robert E. Howard, which is weird when you say spread the word about someone that is just, celebrated like he is, but it just seems like his name never comes up when you start talking about the big hitters of the genre. So I wanted to make sure I talked about that and gave respect. I read the first 2 Dresden Files books. I'll be doing a review for those and also a why I decided to read also for the Dresden Files. That should be a really fun conversation because it's going to be me talking about how a lot of the bad WB and now CW television that I used to watch back in the day that really made me think of some things. I'll read Dresden Files, just memories. But I'll get into that a little more there. But long story short, I'm really enjoying Dresden Files at this point. And like I said, I don't know why it took me so long to read it, but I'm glad that I am because if these first 2 books that lots of people say these are the worst 2 in the series, if this is the worst this series has to offer, I'm in for a fun ride. Now I'm even curious about if I should fit in these short stories and prequels and what order to read them in and stuff like that. If you shouldn't read them in chronological order because it ruins stuff for later or whatnot. So I'm actually going to do a little research on that before I start on book 3, which is where everybody says the series just takes off like a rocket. So I'm very, very excited. I did finish Crown of Swords, and I did that review. Lots and lots of feedback on that one. And I plan to start A Path of Daggers this week after I finish exams for school. Because just because it's Thanksgiving here, but professors don't care. I still had 2 exams this week and a project and a big time paper. So it's a very, very busy week for me. So I'm not starting this until I finish my schoolwork because I just know that when you start reading a new Wheel of Time book, for the first day or 2, that's pretty much all you're going to be doing. So I don't expect Path of Daggers to be any different. I did my wish list video for Path of Daggers right here. Just talking about what I hope to see happen in this book. And I have already started The Dark Age by Pierce Brown, which is, again, I can't say enough to you guys if you have not read the Red Rising series. After I finish this one, I plan to do a why you should read for the Red Rising series because I've done videos on the channel before and they just really haven't taken off like I hope they would. And it seems like, look, I know that Witcher and Wheel of Time stuff, I talked about Witcher right here and it just blew up. So I know that Witcher and Wheel of Time are stuff that's going to be very popular on the channel, especially with the show upcoming and stuff like that. And that's great. That's great. I have no problems with this stuff. But I like to branch out and not just be known as the Wheel of Time guy or the First Law guy or the Witcher guy. Obviously those are going to be the probably 3 things I talk about the most on the channel. But I'd like to be able to say, hey, this guy talks about everything. I don't want to become known as that one guy that talks about that one thing. So I'll definitely going to keep trying to push some of that content out there to see if some of you guys will give some things a chance. Stuff like that. But after that, I think I'm going to hit The Outsider by Stephen King. That's pretty much the plans. I've already passed my my goal for the year was 50 books, and I've already passed that. So I thought that the holidays would kind of slow down a little bit with the kids out of school, and it still might. It still might. I mean, been doing a lot of stuff with them this week, and kind of snuck out of the room for a minute to kind of make this video. Other than that, I went ahead and did start playing that Jedi Fallen Order. I know that a lot of people, like myself included, were really, really leery about EA and Star Wars, as the last few Star Wars games they've made they've made mistake after mistake, and they've even went on record as saying that like nobody cares about single player games anymore. Well, I am definitely not the person you're talking to, because I still like to play single player games. I don't care about playing games online. Like I said, I don't need to be called derogatory terms by kids my kid's age. I can do that here with him on the couch. Me and my wife, we're still very much couch co-opers or single player campaign players. So it's a very cool game. It's a very, very cool game. Playing it on the PC with the headphones on, the sound is magnificent. In fact, I wish that the soundtrack in this game was actually being used in The Mandalorian, which we'll talk about in a second, because if there's one thing I have bad to say about The Mandalorian, it's the music is just god-awful and it doesn't feel Star Wars-y at all. But this game, yeah, the sounds, everything is just fantastic. The sword, the lightsaber play is very, very fun. Very Dark Soulsy with the fighting system, but the gameplay is very much like the new Tomb Raiders, I guess I would say, which is great. I love the Tomb Raider series, so it's a very, very cool game. And I gotta say right now, gun to my head, it's probably my game of the year. That's how much I'm enjoying it. And I feel like, just as a Star Wars fan, just being so just demotivated about the universe after the last couple of movies, and just not being into it, and just feeling like, okay, maybe it's just not for me anymore. I feel like this and The Mandalorian both have gotten such a positive reception from the old school fans, because they feel like, hey, we're not being left behind, we're not being forgotten at this point. So that's really, really cool. You guys can have the saga films. Let us have the Mandalorian and Jedi Fallen Order. I want to talk about The Mandalorian real fast. And I know I sound like a broken record where I keep saying that it's really, really good and you should watch it. It's just that it's getting better each week. The third episode, like the last 5 minutes, was like something straight out of an EU novel. And I mean the original EU, the Legends EU. Just fantastic stuff. Like, even my wife, who was into that, was like, this is really good. This is really good. And there's rumors now that Favreau and Dave Filoni are going to be taking over Star Wars eventually. If that's the case, I think it's in good hands, because I think Favreau's been writing, and Filoni knows this universe inside out. I've said before, I feel like he knows the universe better than anyone not named George Lucas. Timothy Zahn gets kind of an honorable mention there, but I definitely am optimistic about that, especially after the story this week about where Kathleen Kennedy said that making Star Wars movies is hard because they don't have comic books or 800-page novels to go off of. And I'm like, you have to be trolling at this point to say something. You cannot be in charge of this show and be that clueless about all that content back there that you guys acquired when you bought Lucasfilm, and you don't use any of it, and then you're gonna make comments like that. So yeah, it's a very interesting time to be a Star Wars fan, because, like I said, I'm not interested in the new movie, but I am very interested in everything that they're doing on the Disney Plus, which so far is just Mandalorian, but obviously I'll be interested in that Obi-Wan series, especially since apparently the lady, I didn't write her name down, I apologize, but the lady who directed that third episode of The Mandalorian is the one who's going to be doing the Obi-Wan series. So very encouraging if going off that, because guys, it just feels Star Wars. It looks and feels Star Wars. Only thing bad is the soundtrack. The soundtrack, it feels like B-sides from Rocky. It's really, really weird. It is not mixed. And I feel like that's something that they're going to listen to feedback on, they're going to fix. I feel like in season 2, if there is a season 2 of Mandalorian, I believe there will be, unless this is just a standalone story. I feel like that's something they'll fix. And I was telling a friend that I can't wait for the fan edit that someone makes, where they edit it down into like a movie length and put in the John Williams music to make it feel Star Wars. And I think that'll be perfect. But yeah, that's really about what's going on, guys. We're still continuing our Expanse rewatch, stuff like that. We're in season 3. We're almost done. I know I talk about the Mandalorian and Expanse. That's really just kind of all we're watching right now. So I won't really rehash that. But I do plan on talking about the Expanse here in the near future, the books. I plan on doing a Why You Should Read series on the books. So that's a series I'm really going to be kicking up a lot. It's coming up soon is Why You Should Reads. A lot of people got a lot of good feedback off of those, so I definitely want to plan to do some Sanderson. I definitely want to do some Mistborn and Stormlight. I want to do maybe some Tolkien. I mean, anything you can really think of that I really just talk about constantly. I want to do some Why You Should Reads, and what that is really is just to get more people to give series a chance. I still get, 2 or 3 times a week, I get someone who watches my First Law videos, because you missed those, and say, you know what, I gave this series a chance just because of what you said about them, and it's one of my favorite series ever now. So that means the world to me. Again, this channel is all about conversation. Making money is like a side thing to me. I don't care about that. I don't care about the 80,000 subscribers some of these other channels have. That's why I don't do like the clickbait